And
then I will make you the host. It was a pleasure seeing you all today. If you need anything from me, let me know. edd@csusb.edu. I don't really answer the phone much. I'm just kidding. I really do answer the phone, but email me. All right, bye.
okay, very good. All right, here we go. Uh, okay, so I'm gonna repeat some of the stuff that's already in writing, but then I'll repeat a little bit of it and then open it up for questions, and then talk a little bit more, open up for questions. It's mostly the idea here is to give you tips on how to prepare, let you know what to expect, and also uh uh I guess the more you know, the in theory, the less anxious you should be about it, because then you kind of, you're not in the dark. So the first thing I'm going to say is make sure Saturday, no, I'm sure it's there, but make sure Saturday, November 16th is on your calendar. And you want to show up at 8:30. You can show up at 8 o'clock if you want to, as early as you want. Officially, I would show up at 8:30. Why? Because we need to, we're going to randomly put you in two different rooms. So half of you here, half of you there. And you have to line up. You're going to have to show us your photo ID. Even though we know who you are, it has to be standardized for our purposes. Just pretend we're strangers. You're taking the SAT in high school or the GRE or something, just any other test. So bring your photo ID. You're going to show it to us. And there's a little bit of prep work so that by 9 o'clock, you're seated in front of your computer and ready to go. So Saturday, November 16th, I would be here as early as 8, but really no later than 8:30. Okay. Um, Let me see here. Let me open up this agenda. Okay. Are there any preliminary questions before I jump into? Yeah,
Student ID or driver's license, does either matter or both okay?
I guess your student ID is okay. Yeah, that's fine. Or any kind of photo ID. It's just for the formalities, right? Okay, so um so in theory and in practice, this is what's taking place right now. You are like right in the middle of your doctoral journey. Okay, so believe it or not, it's been what, a year and a half or almost a year and a half. So you're right in the middle. So for the first year and a half, that's when everybody's taking, for the most part, courses together, regardless of what your strand is, your specialization. You all are taking your courses together. Then, and during this time, the doctoral team, so myself with Stacy and Candice, we are your advisors. So we're advising you, in a sense, we're your guides along the journey. Okay. So then then you do your comprehensive exams or your qualifying exams. Once you've completed those, then that marks the second half of the doctoral journey. During the second half is when you should be focusing very heavily on your dissertation. You'll still be taking courses, right? But instead of preparing for the qualifying exam, that's out of the way. Now you're specializing in your strand, and you're going to be working more closely with your committee, and your dissertation chair technically becomes your advisor. Okay, so then I'm your advisor on record up until the end of the semester, and then we hand you over to your committee, and in particular your dissertation chair. Okay, so I need to remind you, if you haven't yet, you need to complete Form 5 ASAP. Form 5 is basically your dissertation committee makeup. Okay, so if you haven't yet, you have to do Form 5 ASAP. And since we're talking about forms, I'll let you know right now that you need to submit Form 3. Do I need to put this in the chat? You guys will know, right? If I just say it. Okay, so Form 3, we need also ASAP. That is what you're submitting before the exam. So between now and November 16th, preferably over the next 2 weeks, you submit Form 3. The reason why you submit Form 3 is because then we have to double check your program plan to make sure you've passed all your courses, to make sure there's no irregularities. What if we discover that by mistake you weren't properly enrolled in a course or something? So these things happen. The university is a bureaucracy. So you submit Form 3, and then we just do it like a status check, just to make sure everything's in order. Then, after you've done your qualifying exam, once you've been notified that you've passed the qualifying exam, that's when you fill out form number 4. And what form number 4 does is that it advances you. So right now you are a doctoral student. Once you have passed your doctoral exams, you then advance to a doctoral candidate. In fact, even on your email signatures, after you pass the exams, most people put doctoral candidate. Okay, so right now you're a student, you pass the qualifying exams, you advance to candidacy, so you become a doctoral candidate. Okay, so Form 5, you need to fill out ASAP. That's your committee. We have to sign off on your committee.
Does it
Form
have to be the full committee or just the chair, the whole?
It should be the full committee by now, but you give us what you got. But it should be the full committee. If you have it, right? Obviously, the chair is the most important thing. And we've done that before, where we have allowed students to just tell us who their chair is, because that's like the most important. So in short, forms 3, 4, and 5, you need to submit by the end of this semester. 3, 4, and 5 by the end of the semester. We want you to do Form 3 as soon as possible, because that's when we make sure there's no irregularities or anything, so that you're allowed, therefore, to take the exam. Once you've passed the qualifying exam, you fill out Form 4, which moves you from student to candidate. And then you're going to fill out Form 5, which is your committee. So then what we do is we it's like the little birdie. We push you off your nest and go fly with your committee. And that's when you work on your dissertation with them. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, so I apologize for repeating myself, talking a certain way. I just kind of it helps me to, I repeat it a bunch of times, so it's there. Okay. The qualifying exam also signifies that you're prepared to transition to the specialization. I kind of mentioned that already, but in a sense, you've taken these courses, these core courses, which is like which are the foundation courses, which is why the comprehensive exams or qualifying exams are based on those core courses. So you've done that, and now in a sense, by passing your exams, it signals that you're ready to do the independent work, which is the dissertation. Okay. Any questions so far on what I've said? Okay, thank you. All right, so this is what's going on. Okay, so we took, so in this, your questions are like double randomized. So we took all your possible core courses. There's like 7 or 8, well, 7 core courses. Because there was one course, right, where you broke off already into your specialization. So we took all your core courses and we randomized it so that we picked out 4 of those 7 courses. Okay. So we created a study guide for the PK-12 strand and another study guide for the community college higher education strand. Those are already given to you in the email. Okay. Any questions on that? Those were randomized. So we took all your core courses. So any of your core courses could have been there. We took all your core courses. We, you know, think about it. You put in a big hat and we picked 4 of those. So those are the 4 that got picked. And those are the 4, that's your study guide. Okay, so that's the first time it's randomized. But then we put those 4 courses in a hat, and we're gonna randomly pick 3 out of those 4. So each person on the day of the qualifying exam, each person is gonna have 3 questions. So you're studying 4 questions, but you're only gonna be given 3 questions on the day of. And each person is going to get a different set of those 3 questions. So we put the 4 things in a hat, we mix it up, and we pick 3. And that's what Michelle's going to get. We put all the questions again in the same hat, we pick 3, then that's what Charles is going to get. We put them all back in the hat, we mix it up, that's what Val is going to get, etc. Okay. Are there any questions on that? Sounds good. Okay. Okay, so I already said that you should show up around 8:30. The examination is for 4 hours. So from 9 in the morning till 1 p.m. Okay, so you're gonna need to block off those 4 hours. Like I said earlier, I would arrive as early as 8 o'clock. As long as we're in the room by a little bit after 8:45, each person is going to be randomly, so the 3 random. So you're going to be randomly assigned to either one of the 2 rooms. So you won't find out to the day of. You're going to show up, you're going to show us your photo ID, we're going to check you off, we're going to give you an envelope. You then are going to be in either one of 2 rooms. You're gonna be seated in front of a computer, just like most of you are right now. You're in front of a computer, but it's not a computer of your own. It's a computer from our computer lab. The internet's going to be disabled, so you cannot access the internet. You're gonna open up the Word document, and you're gonna respond to your 3 questions in the Word document. So you have the 4 hours to respond to that. Okay. On the day of, You're not allowed to bring any tablets. You can't bring iPads, uh, not even your Apple Watch. Why? Because we don't want any anyone to be questioned, or oh, this person's wearing an Apple Watch. They can somehow access their notes or something. We're just gonna make it straight across the board. Don't bring anything. If you do bring anything, then we're gonna have to store it like in the front or somewhere in the room. We'll have a little section for your phone, right? So, put your phone on silent, vibrator, or turn it off and store it. Your Apple Watch, everything, nothing. You can and we've let students in the past bring some snacks. So you can bring like a juice or water, whatever snacks you need, because uh we found out it's helpful. Of course, you all know it's helpful for your blood sugar and just, to you could be snacking on stuff. Um but you'll also have to leave that in the front. And then you just have to ask the proctor, hey, can I grab my soda? And, just let he or she know, oh, okay, and you grab your soda and you're drinking your soda. Any questions so far? Okay. You will be giving in that little envelope, big envelope that you're gonna be given, you're gonna be given the 3 questions that you're responsible for and a blue book. Okay. That blue book is for you to make notes, to make an outline if you wish, whatever you need that blue book for. At the end of the whole thing, we're gonna collect back the blue book. Okay, so it's you give us back the blue book like that. When you get your examination questions, it's 9 o'clock. Hold on for a second. Somebody's texting me. Okay, it's not in your cohort, so sorry about that. When you do get your question, right, your envelope, you're gonna open it up. What we want you to do is to put your name, your full name in the header, right? So your header should be right away. We'll go over this also on the day of, and it'll be in your instructions, but you put your full name in the header, and we want you to begin your response with the course number, and the question should begin on a new page, right? So you put the course number and then you begin it on a new page. You respond. Make sure to save it or set up the auto save, whatever you do. And then whenever you're finished with that question and you get to a new question, start it on a new page. Put the course number. Make sure your name appears in the header. Okay. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay, well, that's good. When there's no questions, that means I'm doing it. Once the exam begins, that's it, Pablo. No more socializing, no more doing anything. Okay, Pablo? You're gonna be working on your stuff. All of you, you're gonna be working on your thing. So no socializing, no talking. Okay, there'll be like a check-in and check-out roster on the table. So if you need to use the restroom, it's only one person at a time. You check out of the room, go use the restroom, and then when you come back, you check in. Only one person at a time. Go ahead, Ashley. Go ahead, Ash. How are you?
Oh, can you put like 2 separate rooms, like where people that do have snacks and people that don't? Because if they're like loud snacks, I'm gonna get easily distracted. It's gonna, at least for me, it's gonna get annoying. So is there possible to just have one room with people with snacks and other people with?
No, because it's random. But you can, we've allowed this in the past because there are, neurodivergent folks among us, including myself and a lot of other people, where background noise either helps some people, but then background noise also hurts some people. So you have the option if you want to bring in headphones, not the Bluetooth or anything like that, but just though I guess some kind of headphones that cover your ears if you wanted to.
Can you bring like just like the earplugs that you can put in your ear? Like just
Yeah, you can bring it. Yeah, you can bring earplugs.
Okay.
Just don't bring the high-tech Bluetooth kind. Bring the low-tech or no-tech things to put in your ears, or you can buy those things. I know my daughter uses them because, unlike me, I like background noise. When I'm working and doing stuff, I like to have a little, just soft, some music in the background or something's going on. But there's other people that just with the slightest noise, like I said, they can't do it. Because it's randomized who's going to be in what room. Ash, you are free to bring whatever you want to cover your ears, or I mean, if you want to bring blinders, I don't know what, if you want, whatever helps you, as long as it's not like the high-tech stuff that could possibly be connected to like a Bluetooth or anything. Did that help, Ash?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. I'm sorry about that. There's just no way to, it has to be like a randomized. And then if we were to do that, who's going to bring snacks, who's not going to bring snacks, it's just too hard for us. Okay. Okay, I only one student can leave at a time. Okay. So when you have completed the exam, you're going to call up proctor, and the proctor is going to make copies, a couple copies on thumb drives. Okay, so we want to make sure first that there's a copy saved on the computer. Proctor's going to come over, save them on our thumb drives. Okay. Then you're gonna put the instructions and the blue book, everything back into the envelope, and you're gonna give us back the envelope. Okay. We will then delete before you leave the room. Once we're sure that copies are on the thumb drives, we will delete your answers from the computer you're using. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. There's no questions? Really? Okay. Almost a question we always get is, what does the average response look like? So I'll just pretend somebody asked me that. And in my experience in the past, it's about 3 pages, double spaced per question. That doesn't mean that it has to be at least, I mean, you can answer it to as full as you can, but on average, each response is about 3 pages, double spaced. Remember, you have 4 hours. So what's 4 divided by 3? I don't know, an hour and 15 minutes or something, right? An hour and 20 minutes. Okay. Okay, I'll keep going. Okay, so then
Real quick, you mind if I ask you a question on that?
yes, I'm give me questions.
Okay, great. So 9 pages, 4 hours. It's 3 pages. The
Double
is
spaced
that passing?
average.
Is that passing, or is that just the average that people do?
So you're not going to be qualified based on the quantity. You're gonna be, it's all qualified by your response, what you actually write. So each instructor submitted questions to us, and those questions are in a bank. So we have a bank of all different possible questions. Along with that, we have a rubric. So the instructors also included a rubric where it indicates what are they looking for in your response. And you're gonna get so let me backtrack. We're gonna take your responses. We're gonna strip it. Obviously, we save a copy, but we're gonna strip it of your name. Okay, so it's a totally anonymous. So then two of the instructors are gonna get each your responses. Okay, so you have two reviewers. They're gonna give you a score of either 0, 1, or a 2. Okay, so you need a 1 or a 2 to pass. If any of you get a 0 on any of your responses, it automatically goes to a third reader to break the tie. If both of your reviewers give you a 0, then that means it's a no pass. All right. Ash, so that's only 4.5 to 5 pages in total. I didn't get to see what she said, but 3 pages double space per question. There's 3 questions, so it'd be like 9 pages. So I don't know what you mean, Ash. What Ash, clarify and then go ahead, Miranda.
So if it's supposed to be 3 pages per response, that's 3, right? But it's double space, so it's only 4.5 single space. You double that, and it's 9. So technically, it's only, you can just not double space it. If you just calculate just 1.5 per response, you double space it. That's 3 pages, right?
Well, 3 pages double spaced. I'm not sure what you're trying to figure out. And I would double space it. Why? Because it's easier to read, and you want the person who's reading it to not be frustrated with trying to when it's too small. You want them to be able to read it very easily. Go ahead, Miranda, and then Val.
I can assume that you're not going to give us that rubric, right?
No, because the responses of what indicates a 0, 1, or a 2 is in the rubric.
Okay. And then if one person gives you a 0 and somebody else gives you a 1 or a 2, how does that work? Do you bring in a tiebreaker
If
for
only
that?
one person gives you a 0, then there's a third person who automatically has to read it.
Okay.
Val, go ahead.
I think you might have mentioned this over the past summer, but I think I need to be reminded. What is from your experience doing this for a while, what's the typical failure rate?
Okay, so in all my years of experience, I've never had a student who's failed the comprehensive exams. We've been doing that. This is gonna be like maybe our third or fourth year doing it here in our program. We had a different way of doing the comprehensive exams before. But under this new way of everybody coming in on a Saturday, we've never had anyone fail. We have had students who get a 0, but then the third reader then kind of breaks the tie. Right? So you need a 1 or 1s or 2s. Again, if you get a 0, then a third person's gonna come in and break the tie. If you get 2 zeros, that means that both of your readers said fail or no or did not pass. Okay, so and I put it also in the what I sent you. If for some reason you do not pass this first time, you have one attempt to take it again. And but only the question or questions that you did not pass the first time. So you don't have to do all 3 again. Let's say you just, I don't know, didn't do well on one of the questions, then you'd have a chance to take that again. But that's it. There's only 2 attempts. Ash, I feel like I didn't properly understand what you were saying earlier.
Oh no, I think so I guess because I was trying to like imagine it like so that it's like less stressful. So if you say that it's 3 pages double space, but if you and it's supposed to be 9 pages in total, but if you think about it, it's only a page and a half single.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. So page and a half times 3 is 4.5. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I was figuring like if I wrote just 1 page just when I'm studying, and then when I do the actual exam, I could just double space and not stress so much.
I understand. I understand your rationale. Yeah.
But
So
aren't you saying it's what you write, not how much you write? So if
yes,
you could cover it all in 1 page, double spaced, or 2 pages, that and you hit all the points, you good, right?
I can't say because I'm not your reader, right? It's the reader. So your first reader is going to be the person who taught the course. Your second reader is going to be someone who most likely has taught the same course, but for another cohort. So they're familiar with the course. Either way, we have a rubric. So anyone who's reading it has access to the rubric, right? Ash?
Um, since I've spoken with like some other professors and since one of your questions isn't on there, I know like Wilson said she wanted to at least see 3 to 4 sources. For you, how many sources would you prefer to be present on the exam?
There's really no, like, I'm not, are you saying like for the course that you took with me?
Yeah, because Wilson said that she recommended to at least have 3 to 4.
Oh, okay, well then I would do what she's asking for for that particular course, right? In the course I taught in the I would say, yeah, that kind of makes sense to me. If you have like 3 or 4 citations, simple citations. In other words, you're not expected to memorize the full name of the article and the page number and whatever, but simple citation like, I don't know, Magaña 2013, right? Something I do want to say is that for my class, which is going to be the same for all the other courses, you want to make sure that they are citations from what was discussed in the class. So don't bring, I guess you could, but it's risky to bring anything from the outside. You want to make sure that the person who's reading your response basically says, oh, okay, you've given me you've cited a couple of people from the class, and that's part of what they're looking for also, to make sure that you bring in the course readings, the course lectures, any material from the course that's from the course.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So Everybody got that? 0, 1, and 2. If you get a 0, a third reader is going to break the tie. 2 zeros, you don't pass.
I have a
And
question about that actually.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so say somebody gives you a 0, are they going to justify why they give that 0?
Well, they'll let me know. Hold on, someone's in the. They'll indicate to me why, because we have a rubric, right? So each person that's reviewing has a rubric. So so in a sense we've cross-trained ourselves. But the primary person is always, by and large, the person who actually taught the course with you. And then the second person is an additional person, most likely someone who's taught the course in the past. But even if they haven't taught the course, they've been given the rubric. So the scoring is all based on the rubric. We do,
Actually,
however,
I was thinking about it, and if we have to retake it, obviously it wouldn't make sense for them to tell us.
then if you have to retake it, then
Right.
then I would gather as much information possible. I would read the responses in question, and then we would work together in a response to so that you can retake that one section.
Okay.
So it's our philosophy is not to, aha, we caught you, we gatekeeping. It's the purpose is not to like keep you, you mean to block you. We don't want to block you. That's where we're trying to do everything possible so you have all the information up front. And no, to date, no one's failed. Someone has been given a 0, but then the third reader has broken the tie and that person's always passed. But in case it ever were to happen, then I would work with you so that so you would not be in the dark. You wouldn't just take the exam again without knowing how to improve or what you missed.
So maybe this is a dumb question, but we really don't have to worry about this, right? Like you're gonna be there to support us if we need, if they feel like maybe we missed something, you're gonna help us through the process of rewriting or whatever.
Yes, because I am at least on paper, I'm your advisor, right? So the instructors, other than the course that I taught with you, right? And that's just because it was a summer course and it was available. I taught that course, but let's say normally I wouldn't be teaching any course. I'm your advisor. I want you to pass to the next level. So I'll work with you to see what you missed. It's never happened, so it's kind of theoretical for me, to be honest with you.
Right.
Usually, I mean, students prepare for it and they pass, Okay, so
Okay,
then,
sorry, this is a random other question. Sorry, I keep
yeah,
asking.
go ahead.
Okay, so we're taking this in November and November 17th. How long does it typically take us to get our responses back?
Okay, it's November 16th.
November 16th.
Okay. And I think I put that in my thing also. Yeah, approximately 2 to 3 weeks. Now I can't guarantee it because it's going to go to other people to read, but we give them a deadline. So whenever we have your responses, we're going to strip it of your name so that it's anonymous. We're going to send it out to 2 people for each question. they're going to give us a score of a 0, 1, or 2, and we give them a deadline. And that deadline is going to be like 2 or 3 weeks, at least 2 or 3 weeks after November 16th. Last year, there was an issue where a couple of people had gotten sick and they needed an extension, and then we ran into the Christmas vacation. This year, we set it up like a week or 2 before in years past, so that our goal is to, before your vacation time, you will have received an email confirming that you have successfully passed the comprehensive exam. So that's our goal.
And then that's when we file the next form.
Yeah, and that's when you form 4. And then
And then once we're done with those things, we can theoretically propose after that.
yes. So that's the only thing that's keeping you from proposing officially. So, but yeah, once you pass the qualifying exam, we hand you over to your committee, to your dissertation chair, and then you just work with them independently to do your proposal, to fill out your IRB, collect your data, and then defend your dissertation.
Okay.
Okay, I may have covered everything, but I don't know. You guys,
Any recommendations?
yes. Okay, so I have recommended. Okay, so you have 4 hours. So, we encourage you to start study groups. In fact, I'm sure you already have. You guys are a very unique cohort. I'm sure you guys already have a whole thing going on. Study groups, okay? So we encourage study groups, but make sure that your responses are not so identical, because then it's going to look like cheating, right? Now, it doesn't mean that you're cheating, but it's just you want to avoid having the exact same responses, right? If you can understand what I'm saying, because then someone's going to read it and they're going to say, hey, this is the same as the other person, and it creates questioning. So we encourage study groups, just don't create responses that are going to be so identical, because then that sets up a red flag. I'll just tell you the way I think, and this works for me. Then again, I took my exams a long time ago, but the base is the same thing. The exact same thing. You're gonna be given a blue book. In that blue book, and again, I'm just saying this is the way I would do it. You take it or leave it. This is the way I would do it. I would create responses and make sure that you have at least 3 or 4 citations from the course readings, and you feel pretty confident that you've answered to the best of your ability. So then you study your responses, you memorize, you try to hold as much in. I myself would create an outline for each of my responses. So when you open up your packet and you find out what 3 questions you get, I would spend honestly, the first 15 minutes, maybe even 20 minutes if it's needed, I would spend it writing I would regurgitating the outline for each of my 3 responses. And then I go back, I'm going to spend an hour to respond to the first question, another hour to respond to the second question, and another hour to respond to the third question. And then I would use the last half hour of my time to go back and fill any gaps, anything that I think I needed to, address. It's 4 hours altogether. The timekeeper or the proctor in the room is going to remind you at every hour. So they're going to say, okay, you got 4 hours. And then they're going to say, okay, you have 3 hours left. Then they're going to say, you got 2 hours left. Then they're going to say, okay, you have 1 hour. And then during that last hour, they're going to say, okay, now you have half an hour. And then they're going to say, okay, 15 minutes. So that's the way I would do it. Will there be a clock in the room? Yes, there'll be a clock in the room. Okay, did I go over everything? Almost everything? We bring a tiny statue. Yes, it helps you. But you'd have to keep it here right by me.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
So the question 7803, I'm assuming that one is from your qualitative research. I mean, the information and instructions is like there goes the whole answer right there. Almost 2 pages.
There you go.
So I guess we gotta read it carefully.
For like my particular question, just prove to me you're paying at least a little bit of attention, If not, go back and I honestly that's what I would do. I would write out the responses and then study those responses and then create an outline, and I would memorize that outline. So first thing you get there, you get your blue book, and I would put my outline for each of the 3 questions. And then again, an hour on this question, an hour on this question, an hour on this question, and then spend my last half hour fixing it all up. Make sure you save, auto save, make sure your name is on the header. Make sure you start each question on a new page. And make sure, although we're not going to be counting the pages, but just make sure that on average, your responses are 3 pages double spaced per question. Okay, I think we discussed everything. You can bring the Virgin, you can do that. You can bring your noise canceling devices for your ears, bring some snacks and food. You just gotta have to, you can't have it with you. I guess you can have everything needs to go in the front of the room, but then as you need it, you just tell the proctor, hey, can I grab my soda? And then, okay, go ahead. Okay. Bring your photo IDs. No Apple Watches, no whatever electronic stuff can't be with you. Okay, got it. Pablo, no, you can't write the notes on your hand or nothing. You have the notes right here.
Oh, damn. I was just thinking about that.
Okay, I think we're at 6:55. I don't know what else to go. I mean, I try to cover as much as I can. If there's no questions, I think we're done.
Well, thank you for all the information. Now we have to prepare.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, thanks again. This is
Feel
wonderful.
free to call me or email me for any additional stuff.
All right.
Don't cry,
Thank you,
Ash.
Dr. Murillo. Thank you.
Adios. Okay,
Bye.
bye.
You need